All right, everyone. Welcome to today's masterclass on how to import products into DecoNetwork using a CSV file. It sounds a lot simpler than it actually is. In my opinion, this is one of the most difficult features to take advantage of within DecoNetwork. It's a powerful tool, but everything needs to be formatted in a very specific way for it to work. Um, if you ever wonder how does Deco Network get most of the products in from a supplier into the software for really any of us users to use, it's essentially through the exact same method, at least very similar. So, first thing I want to point out are the help articles. You're crazy not to use them because you won't get anywhere without it, especially when it comes to importing products. So let's search import products. And there's several help articles in here. So that one, import products, required files. This is the one I really want to look at. So when it comes to importing products into DecoNetwork using the CSV, we are going to be uploading a lot of data at the same time. So when it comes to the products, we need the name, the code, the description, the price, the SKU. There's a lot of information that is going to be included within the CSV. So right here, I have put together a CSV of Polar Camel drinkware products. Don't think that this CSV is only meant for non-apparel. I mean, it doesn't matter what product it is, if it's decoratable or not, you can import products using the CSV method. So within the CSV, we have the product name, description, who the supplier is, the brand, the product type, um, the vendor code, the SKU, the name. So for each SKU, each color and size combination, if you're thinking of apparel, has its own row in the CSV. Meaning, and right here, I only have 15 Polar Camel products, and each comes in around a dozen colors. So you can see I have around 237 lines here, rows in the CSV. When Deco Network gets something from like Sandmar, I mean, you're talking thousands upon thousands of rows of SKUs. Um, so we have right here, if we had a size, we'd put the size. We're dealing with drinkware. We don't have a size and we don't thus need a size name. The palette name. So when we import our products and I'm saying, okay, this is olive green, Deco needs to know what color of swatch does this olive green represent? And I don't necessarily have to import a color palette, but I can import a color palette in which I am defining through a hex code what color that swatch essentially should be and represent. Sizing, again, because it's not apparel, we don't have a size table to have to reference or a size chart. Um, Lifestyle image. So the lifestyle image is more of our sales image. So this is going to be, if it was apparel, it typically is a human wearing the shirt. If it's versus the product view is typically less busy. It's just the blank itself. When it comes to like drinkware, I would prefer that the lifestyle image look like something that was already engraved or printed. I just like that for non-apparel products, especially like promotional. Show us what it would look like decorated. And then once the customer takes it into the design tool, obviously it needs to be blank. And that is going to be this view screen image here. So it's you don't see it exactly, and I'll pull up another CSV, but these product views. So I only have one view for drinkware. Again, I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible, and that's this front. Uh, if we had multiple views, we'd have front, back, left, right, except you can't just start typing like I just did. It needs to be in a very specific format. If I can't stress enough, I mean, right here, you see the product name. There is no spaces any point. If I hit a space here, this will not work. It's dead. It does not work. It has to be formatted in a very specific way. So let's go back to this help article. And what you want to do anytime you're going to import something is you need to download the actual sample files. So let's look at the sample files. And here is our product SKUs. So if I scroll all the way over, you'll see front, back, left side, right side. You would want to, if you have multiple product views, you need to follow that formula exactly. So instead of not front, back, left, right, it needs to be exactly like that so that everything works the way it should. Um, Again, it gets way more complicated with apparel. You do not have to have every single category filled out. As you saw with my drinkware, I didn't have sizes and a few other things. You don't have to necessarily have to have the shipping weight. I could add that after the fact, but it still has to be there. So the more complete the CSV is, when you upload it, the less work you have to do once it's been uploaded. But first thing you need to do, download the sample CSV, delete all your rows. I always keep one at least, and that helps me make sure I'm using it correctly. Again, especially when it comes to something like this product view. I'm going to copy that. Maybe I only have a front and a back. Well, I'm better off copying that and doing it that way than I mean, I don't even know how to create that line in between front and back. All right, so let's go back to the information. So the data
Hey,
we have.
Zach, can I
Yep.
interrupt you for a
Yes.
moment?
Yep.
That for those of you who are listening, I'm Suzanne. I'm the catalog manager, and Zach asked me to come join him just in case there's anything that he misses or isn't aware of. And I just want to tell you how to make that vertical line. If you look at your keyboard above the enter key, you've got the backslash and the straight up and down. Hit shift and hit that button, and that'll
Ah,
make that vertical line for you.
yeah. You learn something every day, Suzanne.
Don't I know it?
All right. Also in the CSV, so you can see here in the sample that all I did was open up one CSV, and that was the SKU information we saw. We would have a size chart. So if it was apparel, we could have a size chart, and within the CSV, that is where it's referencing. So, sorry, this is the example size chart. I would upload this at the same time I upload the SKU CSV. The name of this will correspond with the actual chart. Actually, I've got that wrong. I'm looking at the size table. Sorry, it's a CSV. The size chart is the actual image being uploaded. So again, when it comes to the CSV, you have the SKU, you could have the size data, and you can have the color data. So size, uh, SKU, color, and our images. So these images here are just in the sample. So let's go all the way back to let's start the import process. So here in products, import products. Everybody has seen it. Nobody has clicked on it. And if you have, you probably gave up because it is so easy for something to go wrong. The only reason I know what I'm doing is because I've done it several times. I cannot stress enough. I think this is one of the most, I don't want to say difficult, but it is very easy for something not to go correct, and it can get frustrating. Um, don't think that I am pushing that, hey, you should be importing products this way. It only is if it makes sense. Importing products is ideal when a larger group can take advantage of it. We're going to import the JDS drinkware products. Anybody who wants this import, I will gladly give it to you, and you can import it on your own account exactly the way I'm about to do it. Um, and that's why I put it together. I wanted you other DecoNetwork users to be able to take advantage of it because I, like a lot of you, I just bought my first engraving machine and I love the Polar Camel drinkware products. All right, so we're first step, we have to upload our files. We have to import them. So we could do the auto method. I have found that it works pretty well. What that allows us to do is I don't actually have to select, okay, these are the product images. This is the SKU. It essentially can somewhat auto determine itself, but let's keep it simple. So I'm going to come to my CSV. And when it comes to a CSV, remember, it needs to be a CSV, not a Excel file. So don't be trying to upload an XLSX. So CSV, we'll download that. My colors. So I'm going to download this as a CSV. I don't have sizes, so I don't need to worry about that. So let's upload the SKU. So we'll come to our downloads. So there is that. We'll upload it. And you can see it was confirmed with a little OK. Color palette. Let's choose file. Polar Camel colors. Upload them. And now comes for the product images. Okay, when it comes to the product images, we're actually going to do it using a zip file. So what I have, nope, not that. You guys like my desktop? Chaos. So for every single one of our products here, I have a folder and all the colors in it. Again, if this was a t-shirt, it'd have front, back, left chest, or not left and right chest, front, back, left sleeve, right sleeve, for every single color, potentially. Obviously, you don't have to upload every image color. There's different ways you can do it. But also, again, keep in mind, this is the thing I always screwed up. You cannot have any gaps in here. This has to be no extra spaces. And in the CSV that we're going to import, remember, in there is the actual file. So when I upload the CSV and I upload the zip folder of images, everything's able to come together within Deco. So let's upload a zip. Oh, let's actually just make it. So Masterclass products, Polar Camel. Okay. So there's our zip, and we'll upload. So essentially we upload a few different files and it all comes together like magic when done correctly. If there are problems, there's going to be a red flag that comes up and it's just going to stop us from being able to finish the import. And until those problems are resolved, we will not be able to essentially finish the import and get the products in there. Something that is very easy to overlook, um, the product type. Suzanne, the product type is not, is it a product group, technically?
No, there are 8 or 9 very specific product types that are in the system, and drinkware would not be one of them. That would be considered a category. The product types are much more basic. Trying to remember off the top of my head, apparel, headwear, bags, footwear,
So what I've,
accessories, maybe. Yes, there are only a handful of them.
but if you create, so what I, correct me if I'm wrong, if you create the product group and it correlates to that product type, then it'll import. But if you try to make your own product type in that CSV and it's not, the product group isn't already in the system, it doesn't work. At least that's
That is true. It has to be existing within the store already in order for the file to import.
okay. Thank you. This is another one, guys, that I kept running into at times. You may think, oh, this is what this product type is. Well, that's great, but this product type must already be in the system before we start the import process. Okay, you can see here the SKU has been uploaded. 236 images have been uploaded, one color palette. We'll click next. So step three, we can match existing products. So let's say later down the road, all of the pricing changes on these products. Well, I could use the CSV and I could update the price and re-import it. So that is one big advantage of using a CSV is mass updates to products. Now, let's set some expectations. You cannot export products out of Deco and then re-import them. That's not how it works. If the product was imported originally by you, you can re-import your CSV and make updates. Maybe I uploaded the wrong image color, well, or a description. I can re-import it and it will update that existing product. Again, the where I see it potentially being used, let's say the price. Everything I want to make, $2 more. Well, I can quickly create a formula to increase the price, re-import the products. Now I don't have to go into each product and make that adjustment. So there are some nice advantages when importing. Um, you can see most of these, you're not really ever going to change. Yeah, create missing categories. Why not? Allow products with no views, allow missing files, create missing brands. All of that is good. And now we have completed our import. If there were problems, it's going to be telling you right here, hey, we have issues, we need to get them resolved, or we can't move on and get that finished. All right, so now it is adding those 14 products. While it's importing them, again, let's just go back here, the CSV. You can see it was updated in the last 3 months. As the software updates, all these help articles often need to be updated. Um, but it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just the little things like I know I'm getting repetitive, but extra space in the name for the image or not having that product type already defined in the system, it's going to stop you and it can get frustrating pretty easily. That's why it's always best to uh, Deco's always adding new catalogs. Suzanne is always being given new catalogs by me and other DecoNetwork users who at trade shows speak with them, and we want them. It takes a lot of time. Everything you're seeing us do, imagine doing that for thousands of SKUs. And a lot of the time, the supplier gives Suzanne the data, not ideally, and it can be a lot of work. So just so you guys know, Deco doesn't charge suppliers to add their catalogs to the software. It's what helps you as a user make sales. So we're always trying to add additional catalogs, but we do require that whoever we're working with give us the data we need it because we can't be going through thousands, although Suzanne sometimes has to, uh, of lines of data to get the products in there. It can be a complete nightmare. All
Yeah,
right.
just for example, the pen carry catalog alone, if I recall, is 130,000 lines of data. It's massive.
It's so hard to fathom. And while we're touching on that, because I think this is one of the best features that is often not used, supplier account details. A lot of these suppliers that Suzanne has added, um, they have a smart PO integration and or supplier inventory levels. If you're here in the States, Alpha Broder, Sanmar, SNS, I would absolutely put my account information in for all three suppliers. That does not mean that we have to raise purchase orders through the software. So if I enable Smart PO integration down here, I can input my account information. What that is going to allow us to do is look at live inventory and have the ability to raise a smart purchase order through DecoNetwork. You do not have to. And if you do input this and you're going to take advantage of the supplier's inventory levels, come into the inventory settings here. And I highly suggest do not allow adding to cart when they're checking the supplier inventory. And I also like to put a buffer in there. As in, if you have less than 10 of that SKU, you have less than 10 of that size and color, you're out of stock in my eyes, because just because it was there when my customer ordered it doesn't mean it's going to still be available when I have to buy it and raise the purchase order. So by creating a buffer like this, you can really help yourself from selling something that's out of stock. You can see the products are still trickling in. It's still updating. But if we go into a product, you can see all of the information here was in the CSV: the name, the code, the brand, the product group, the description. All of the colors that this is available in were imported. Evidently, with this item, I had an extra line and I didn't upload the image. But one thing you're going to realize is when you import that CSV, there was at no place for us to say these are the different decoration processes that can be used. So you still have to go into a product after it's been imported. You cannot skip this step. So with this, I'd probably turn off everything but engraving, LE, laser engraving. I could, and again, I'm not smart enough to know how to do this, but you could see it dropped the body on here 12 by 16. I probably could have had a different area, but it's still never going to be perfect. So no matter what, I would always add the area from scratch. In this case, it's a drinkware product. Sometimes this non-apparel. Okay, let's actually show a trick. Supplier decoration areas. There's a lot of the decorations over here areas are your default decoration areas. Now I could add a new custom area and call it drinkware for that product, but I have 14 other products. Why would I do that 14 times? So if I come in here, non-apparel, edit, and we may already have something, but let's just go ahead. I'll say it's drinkware. And drinkware is only for engraving. And I'm going to say it's 3 inches by 3 inches. Let's make sure that took. Right there, drinkware, 3 by 3. Cool. Again, I don't see a little checkbox there, so we'll see. Actually, I don't think there's a checkbox if you add your own. All right, we'll save that, and that'll take a second to do its thing. Come back to products. So that finished. All 14 products have been added. Let's go down to our drinkware because this is where it was added. Back to our product. Views and decoration areas. Let's delete the body. Let's add our own, not view, decoration area. Add new area. But now in here, you're going to see our drinkware be available. Now I don't have to redefine what the size is each time. I don't have to redefine that it's only for engraving. It's a lot simpler. Place it on there. Again, you can see all CSV added everything, all my images, nice and beautiful. By the way, I have approached JDS half a dozen times at least at trade shows. I want them to be a supplier within Deco, but they aren't listening to me. Just for everybody out there, if you want JDS, you got to let them know, hey, we need JDS, because JDS is going to listen to their customers more than us at Deco. Also in that CSV, I had the weights and dimensions. If you are using ShipStation's live shipping rate estimator, you cannot estimate shipping cost if you do not have the length, the width, and the height, and a weight. It is not really possible to use a live shipping method. So if you ever get those emails, live shipping error, well, 9 times out of 10, either the weight isn't set or one of these dimensions isn't set. The customer's trying to buy something, it can't calculate it. Same thing happens if they're trying to check out and it says no shipping methods available. Well, often this is one of the problems. Um, all right, so there is our product. Again, you can see I still have to go in here and make that adjustment, and I'll make it active. That's essentially it, guys. Importing products works really nice if it's going to be a situation where I'm going to share the CSV with anybody who wants it, but I would not be proactively trying to put together my own CSV. I personally prefer to add a custom product from scratch. I prefer to clone products whenever possible, and I can piggyback off of a lot of settings. So if I copied this product and I were to make another JDS drinkware product, I'm going to need to update a few things. I'm going to need to change the name, the price, the code, the description, new images, and I'm going on and on and on. But there's a few things that I don't have to redo. I don't have to reset the product group. I don't have to reset the supplier. Heck, the shipping weight is going to be pretty close. So just several of the variables are already configured when you're copying a product. If it's apparel and I'm going to offer a new type of t-shirt, I'm going to copy a t-shirt already in the system and make my life easier, because what takes more time than anything is the images themselves. Changing descriptions and codes isn't very difficult. Here's another tip for everybody out there. If you don't know, there's this awesome tool called ChatGPT. When it comes to product descriptions, everybody has the same product description. So here's what I suggest doing. We're about to hit the slower season of the year in January. If you have employees standing around and you want to give them something to do, um, work on your product descriptions. Now, again, this is something that, hey, you don't have to do it, but it's not a bad idea if you have the time. So I can grab, this description, go into ChatGPT and ask it to rewrite the following as a product description. The problem is, again, everybody has the same product descriptions. So from an SEO standpoint, Google doesn't like reading, every website having these exact same bullets. It means nothing to them. Um, so what you can do, and again, I could have had it stick as bullets and so forth, but if you rewrite your own product description, doesn't take much time with ChatGPT. I would never do it without it, and paste it in here, I'm going to be different. And different is often better when it comes to SEO. Don't be the same. Everybody has the same description. Doing this will help, and that description does get passed over to the meta information as well. So just a little bit of a tip. All right, with that said, who has questions about importing products? Did I scare everybody?
I
It
was answering questions in the
okay.
chat while you were talking. So we had a couple questions. I think those have been answered, but if anyone else has a question, speak up. I was making some notes as you were going on things that are very important to remember when you're setting up your files that will cause problems if you forget them. The first thing is, even though you can have empty columns, like Zach is showing here, you can leave out view sources if you're not using them. You can leave out shipping information, but you can't have an empty row of information, because once the system hits an empty row, it thinks the file is done, and it's only going to import the data up to that line break. So don't skip a line, but you can skip a column. The next important thing is not to change any of those column headings. You can see them highlighted there in the gray. The reason is that these are the search terms that DecoNetwork uses to parse this data. So if you put a space in product name, or if you delete name and it's just product, or you put in something that's relevant to you, that doesn't mean it's relevant to DecoNetwork, and the file either won't import or it will be missing critical information because the system doesn't recognize what's in that column anymore. The third thing is about the formatting of your CSV file. I think the default in most spreadsheet softwares is Unicode 8, but the coding on it does need to be Unicode 8 for it to work in DecoNetwork. I've only had that problem once with one of our European suppliers sent me data that wasn't in the right code, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out why it wouldn't work, and that's what it wound up being. Next thing, if you are importing images the way that Zach did, the only file formats that you can upload are going to be PNG or JPEG. So don't use transparent TIFFs. Those won't upload.
By 1200 DPI at minimum is optimal, correct, Suzanne?
Yes, that is still our, well, I think 800 is the minimum system requirement, but we're working on heading it towards 1200. So to be ahead of the curve, I do recommend 1200 on the short edge. Well, they need to be square. So 1200 square and 96 DPI is fine. Do, 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 do. A side note that doesn't really have anything to do with the CSVs, but one thing that Zach mentioned with the smart purchase orders, in general, yes, that is an option, not a requirement, unless you are selling Alpha Broder with the Under Armour. The system requires that you have Smart PO turned on in order to have access to the Under Armour products. So just keep that in mind. If you are or plan to sell those, we get a lot of support tickets. I get probably a couple every month saying, why don't you have the Under Armour? And we have them. It's that the licensee doesn't have their Smart PO enabled.
Cool.
And the last thing, and I really need to stress this because this is what will cause you to tear your hair out and want to sell your firstborn child, all of the tedium, is everything needs to be exact matches. Data is garbage in, garbage out. If you spell a color black in the product file, it needs to be black. It needs to be capitalized the same way. You can't use abbreviations. Everything needs to be exact matches. If you mess up a character in a one of the files that you're linking, the link is going to break, and you will spend half of your life double checking and triple checking and going through these files, trying to figure out where you done messed up at some point. So a lot of it is copy paste, which is great because you write out a product name once and then you can copy and paste that for the entire product. It's just tedious and little mistakes are easy to make. So just to piggyback on what Zach has said, if you are doing this and taking the time to put in all of this work, just make sure it's worth it, that it's really necessary, or that it's going to be beneficial for other people. You know, that I do this full time and I don't have enough hours in the day, days in the week, weeks in the year to keep on top of this. So I feel the pain that anyone is going through making these CSVs. So just be sure it's something that is really in the long run going to be a good cost benefit for you.
Suzanne, when I signed up for the software 14 years ago, we didn't have but maybe 200 Sanmar products. So if it's amazing what we have now with a click of a button. It's not like we're really hurting. I'm seeing again a big trend more towards those hard goods, and that's something again a lot of people may not know. Alpha Broder we now have over 800 hard good products. And something Suzanne said there was key. We can cheat often with the hard goods. So let's say that, okay, JDS is selling a journal notebook, and I really want to sell that to my customer, but I don't feel like creating that product from scratch. Well, in DecoNetwork, a large amount of orders are quoted. And when they're quoted, we can control things. So, and I don't think I actually had Alpha Broder's hard goods on here, but my point is nothing is stopping us from using a product and ordering it from somewhere else or just faking it. So like the alpha hard good products I do like to have because I can say, okay, I have this journal and I'm gonna mock it up for the customer to with their logo to buy, but it may not be that exact product. We can get away with some things. We can copy products already in the system, but yeah, the importing the CSV, it's difficult, guys. Um, all right, do we have okay Q&A?
I've got, I'm going to
Jane?
answer Karen's question because
Okay.
I was about to type it out. For those of you who maybe aren't looking at the chat, Karen was asking, she's uploading her own apparel that is a private brand. How does she do it so it shows up under her brand name? In that brand column of the CSV, you write in your brand name. And yep, so where it says Polar Camel, on Zach's spreadsheet, if it comes back,
Yep.
you're going to put in Karen's Apparel or whatever name you want it to be. And I believe when you get to all of those checkboxes on the import screen, make sure the checkbox is checked for create missing brands. And then you can also manage that brand as Zach has on the screen right now to upload your own logo that will appear on the product pages along with each product.
Yeah, and you would only have
Does
to do
that
that
answer your
one
question?
time. You don't have to go in each product and upload the logo. If you do it one time, it's
Yeah,
tied to that
it'll
brand
apply
name.
to every
Yep.
product that's tied to the brand. However, if you change the brand's name, this is something that has driven me absolutely bananas because Bella Canvas is sometimes Bella Plus Canvas. It's Bella Canvas. It's just Bella. It's just Canvas. It's capitalized. It's lowercase. And I have to keep merging all of these brands into one giant snowball because, again, the system is garbage in, garbage out. Bella Canvas is not the same thing as Bella plus Canvas in data. So if you make any changes, just keep in mind that now you're going to have two brands and you need to delete the old one if you're not using it anymore.
What about Keith? How do you recommend ask for the principal data from a supplier for this CSV import? Keith, and, again, Suzanne, I'll let you, but I mean, when you communicate with a supplier, you're essentially sharing very similar data as what's in the help article that we've looked at, correct?
Yes, I have an import guide, which is a bundle of basically a PDF with written instructions on how to create these files. I should probably add a link to Lee's help articles because they're really good. And then I have examples of a SKU file, of a color palette file, of two different size table files. And usually they come back with, well, we're not going to do all that work. And they just send me their sort of their raw data, which more often than not, okay, I've got about half of what I need, but then I have to cross-reference this with a stock list to get all of the SKUs. And then I have to cross-list that with a price table to get all of the pricing. Um, and usually the best you're going to get from a supplier is going to be their raw data, and then you have to put in the legwork to collate from two or three different sources all of the information, which really stinks. And it makes updating, that's another facet. Just because you create a catalog, they don't stay in a vacuum forever. You are constantly going to have to be maintaining it, adding and deleting colorways, sizes, new products, getting rid of old products. So just because you climb the mountain once, you're not done. There's a whole bunch of hills after that mountain. But really, that's unless for some reason the supplier really wants to be part of DecoNetwork, which we have had the case with Atlantic Coast Cotton that we added last year. Oliver really, really wanted to be on the platform, and he hired someone to do the data for him. And it's a question of who wants it more. Do you want it more, or does the supplier want it more? And if you want it more, you got to be willing to put in the legwork. But really, all you can do is ask, and 90% of the time, they're going to say no, but send you raw data, which you may be able to access. It depends on the vendor. I know, like Ralawise, you can just download from your account their raw data unique. I don't know, maybe it's a British thing. You can get it. The only way you can get it is to ask and then put in the work.
Yep,
Let's see.
and your best companies out there, like a Sanmar, as you would think, they are the most organized. Suzanne has to do the
Absolutely.
least
They're
amount
my
of work, but
favorite.
yeah.
Sanmar's my favorite.
Well, for most of us decorators, they are as well, because if they can make life easier, they will, compared to most. Wow, we're
Okay.
getting
We
several
got
of
lots of
these. Yeah.
questions. You want to tackle one here, Zach?
Yeah,
See if
yeah. While I'm tackling, maybe you can answer the other way. So one, I have imported products using.
here for Alexander, the question is, can you go over linking files again and explain where to upload images? Can it be done in bulk? Absolutely, you do not want to be uploading these one at a time.
Nope.
So you want to put all of your images into a big zipped folder. And then, Zach, if you can pull up your CSV. All right, he's show. I don't know, where are you going, Zach?
Right there.
Okay, so in the lifestyle images column, and also there in the view source column, you've got to write each file's exact name, and again, matching counts. So make sure you don't accidentally
Yeah.
leave something out when you copy paste, and then you put all of the images from that list into a folder. And when it
I
runs, it will import all of them for you, which in the long run saves time over manually uploading images, depending on how many. If you're doing a pretty small catalog, uh, trying to fill out everything in that column is a bit of a pain in the butt. But if you're doing a lot of products, and there's no exact, hey, this is the tipping point where you should do it in bulk versus doing it manually, but it can be done manually. Just make sure everything's spelled right. You've got all the names in either the lifestyle column, whatever type of images you're trying to upload. View source 1, 2, if you need all those. But that's how you go about doing bulk images.
Yeah, and one thing about that, I what I found to help is I did the names and then I grabbed the name and put it in the CSV. That was the only way I could make sure I had everything the same. Um, okay, so yes, bulk.
And do yourself a favor, give these fairly easy names, like short ones. I get some from vendors and they're a half mile long. I'm like, oh, people, please. Just the name, the product number, and if it's a view, add if it's front or sleeve or back or whatever. Just enough to identify what it is.
This is a good question, Suzanne. If you import, products and then you make changes to them with manually within the product itself, and then you want to make a new bulk update to the products, whatever's re-imported will override what had already been changed manually, correct?
It depends on what you've changed.
Of course it does, Suzanne.
Yeah, imagine that. Um, Information that is deriving from that CSV file will be overwritten.
Okay.
But let's say you only in your data created a front view and imported files, but then you manually added a back view. The back view, because that's something you did manually separate from the data, will not be affected. Any decoration areas you applied will not be affected because that was a manual thing that you did that's not tied to the data. But if you've made a change in a product number, in any of the sizing, changed any of the files that are linked, that will be overwritten. So good rule of thumb is if it comes from the data, it'll be overwritten. If it's something you added or changed manually afterwards that is independent from the data, it will not be overwritten.
San, you could put all the files in one master zip folder as well, correct? Like I have these images, right here in a zip, but I could have made just this masterclass import, had this zip, had my color skew, um, my color CSV, my skew CSV, and I can import them all at once and use the auto capability, right?
Theoretically,
Theoretically, I
that
agree with you there.
theoretically that is possible. The most likely scenario you will find is that the single file then becomes too large and the system will time out. I have created a couple new catalogs where I had to break the images into 5 different compressed folders because it was just too much and the system couldn't handle it all at once. So small catalog should work. Or if you're not uploading any images and you just want to put everything data wise in a folder, because the system parses it by those column headings, that's what allows the auto update the auto import to work. It sees area, okay, this is a size chart. It sees color name, okay, this is a color palette. It sees product name, okay, this is a product SKU file. So yes and no, just like that's
Yeah.
always my answer, yes and no.
Another one, do I need to separate CSV for adult and children's items as the children's are not vatable or like taxable? One of the columns in here has nothing to do with taxes. I can't say this is tax exempt, this isn't. What I like to do in this situation, Karen, is I'm a fan of product groups. So when I imported the products, I could have put them in apparel product group, but then I could create a youth product group. And I don't have to do it even in the CSV. I could have applied a bulk action. So let's just go to products. Let's just choose a category like youth. And I can apply a bulk action and change the product group. And again, most of this is in apparel right now. But if I was in a country or a state, I might create a new product group called youth apparel. And one of the rules for products in this group is if it's tax exempt or not. So that is how you would do it. I would do it by product group, nothing to do with the actual importing. Um, we're used to importing the 130,000 lines for pen carry into Magento, but in Magento we can import only the columns we need as long as we use the unique identifier. But I am saying, am I right in saying in Deco you have to re-import the full CSV? No,
Um,
and you shouldn't be importing anything for pen carry. It's already in the system. There
yeah,
is,
you shouldn't need to, because they provide us with data. It used to be terrible, and they have come a long way. It still has problems now and then. They've sorted most of them. Um, could you just follow up with another question about why you're
why you'd want to import
why
your
you'd
own.
want to
Yeah.
import pen carry manually? Or maybe Zach and I are misunderstanding.
He met a new brand. Um,
Yes, you do have to re-import the full CSV because, well, again, It depends. Um, Zach, if you, can you go back to the import that has all the check boxes,
Yep.
like the import screen? It is always best practice to have one CSV file for your product SKUs. Go to the next screen. Just add a file just so we can get to the next screen, please. I'm so bossy.
Okay.
Okay, so in these checklists, if you unchecked match products, you could add new products without getting rid of your old ones. But if you have the match products, it sees that XYZ 10 amount, however many SKUs are missing, it's going to delete them because it thinks they're not supposed to be there. Um, Another way you could get around this is just some of the other checkboxes. You don't want to discontinue unmatched products or unmatched SKUs if you're not importing a whole new CSV, but things can easily get really messy. So I always recommend if you're adding new things, just scroll or page down to the end of your current CSV and paste all the new stuff in there, just so you don't mess up anything in your catalog accidentally. Hmm. I've never tried to just import a SKU and a description. Um, I think in theory that would work, but I have never tried it myself, so I can't vouch for it. Um, you may want to experiment on your own. Just set up a new test store in testing mode if you can, and try it and see what happens.
Yeah, and one thing I've always found interesting, Suzanne, is DecoNetwork's built that you can sell anything you want. You don't necessarily have to sell a decoratable product. So I do see sometimes like, hey, all I want is to get the name, the price, and an image. And maybe that's all you have from a supplier. And all I have to do is move those things around into four columns and make sure that everything, those four columns are perfect. But yeah, you can easily import products like that situation. And if it's not decoratable, I don't even necessarily have to go into the product and do anything afterward. Um, yeah, so again, you can do a lot of things. All right. I don't see any other questions. So with just guys, the last 5 minutes, I want to show you a couple new things that are about to come with the next update. Let's hop over. All right. Again, I'm going to go real fast with this. Shopify integration, guys. So within a fulfillment website, you will see this fulfill Shopify orders. And within Fulfill Shopify Orders, we essentially map a Shopify site, a store, to this affiliate site. Okay. Again, wait for better documentation from me, but you map it. You create the product in ShipStation. You upload the artwork in ShipStation and you map it to the blank product in Deco. So after I created the products in ShipStation, they then populate into Deco. And from there, I can finish the configuration by saying, okay, this product that's in Shopify is really this product in Deco. And it allows everything to flow exactly the way you'd want it to, because when it comes time for production, I need this order to be like any other order from an affiliate site or any site on my account. So, and Business Hub, I have my first successful order. I think I am the first to do this. So here is our order from the Shopify integration test. And just like any other order coming from an affiliate site, it's there. Artwork is there. Um, Works well. So the Shopify integration is really nice. I can't, it's, let's put it this way. Look at it similar to the CSV. It's not the easiest thing. I would not be telling my clients, hey, sign up for Shopify and we'll link to it. That's not your goal. This Shopify tool is really meant for, hey, I have an existing client or I want to get this client. They already have a Shopify store. They don't want a Deco store. We need to get those orders into Deco. That is when you're going to use this. But do not think that this is going to be used. You don't want to push it. It's work to set up, but it's totally worth it for that bigger client. Very powerful feature. Another great feature. I've been pushing for this, guys. So with the last update, embroidery now can determine the price across all line items using the same file itself. So I don't care if they get black t-shirts and red t-shirts. If it's the same artwork, I want it to price across both lines. If it's embroidery and I'm going onto polos and jackets, if I can sew that design at the same time, the decoration cost should be across all line items, independent of color, size, whatever product it is, as long as it's the same artwork. Well, that was became possible for embroidery. It's always been possible for screen printing. Now you have the option to do it for everything. And again, huge win in my opinion, because overriding pricing in Business Hub is a nightmare. Um, Check this little box here, and DTF, for example, um, I can have the same artwork on t-shirts and sweatshirts. The total unit price can go across all the line items. So great capability there. Another one for you within a decoration process availability. It used to just be Business Hub or not. Now I can choose what stores a decoration process is available to. Pretty cool feature. Color palettes. Hard to kind of explain exactly when you need this, but now you can control a color palette also based on store. So if I have a palette, I can't remember how this works. Just add a new one. Oh, all stores. You can choose what stores that palette is available to. Again, can help you at times. Within products, custom fields. This is often a way to allow a customer to add like a name and a number. The problem is when you use a text field, there has never been a way to increase the price. Well, now we can charge for a text field so that there is a cost associated with like the customer adding a name. That was not an option before. Um, and last one for you guys for your teaser. This is probably my favorite, and I don't know if it's going to work this very moment. We're in beta. We're really close, getting very close. Choose a polo, customer design. Let's find ourselves a, see if I have a DST on my computer. Ooh. Uploading a DST, guys, not an EMB file. So we're going to be able to upload DST files. And not only that, you can change the color scheme once the file's been uploaded. Doesn't look like that's been added to my beta account right here yet, but you can see I uploaded a DST, not an EMB, and then I can change the colors in here. It's just not active on this yet. So there's some really great, powerful new features right around the corner. Real excited they're about to be released, and we should have a list here soon.
Zach, we have one last question coming in.
Okay.
That's for you from Shauna. I
Okay.
don't think the Shopify is available outside of beta.
No, no, we are not it in. No, it is not. And again, I think I'm the first one to get an order over testing it. So it is not. I don't know if you can request to be in beta yet or not. I mean, this might be technically alpha, um, but if they are taking beta request, you can raise a support ticket and request to go into beta. But I really think about that when you do it, because one, there's typically no way for DecoNetwork to roll you back. So if you ask to be put on beta, and there are bugs, you are the beta tester. That is what beta represents. You are taking the risk to help us figure out what needs to be fixed. DecoNetwork doesn't like to rush an update and then have a bunch of bugs and problems. That's why it's slowly rolled out, typically onto brand new accounts that don't have a ton of orders that could go wrong right from the start. But just know that, hey, getting that Shopify integration to test could create problems anywhere else throughout the entire software, more than just that one feature that you really wanted. Were there
And Alexander Mack asks, will the DST files work with store designs?
should yeah, within a store you should be able to upload a DST. Might as well try it. Um, Again, I've been able to upload a DST for like, I kid you not, probably 2 months in alpha. Um, but I just haven't been able to change that. Oh, okay. I can't hear yet. That doesn't mean anything. Don't, again, I can't change the colors yet. It's a lot of kinks to work out. If so, you guys realize a DST can't actually have colors associated with it. So what Deco's doing is it's taking a DST, it's converted it into an EMB so you can change the colors, and then it's exporting a DST. It's crazy. Um, but just to confirm, if I look at embroidery doesn't allow me to actually choose what decoration processes, designer settings. I would not take my message saying no, a DST can't. I can't say for certain because obviously I can't prove it, but I am 95% sure you're going to be able to upload a DST within a store. It's using the exact same design tool. It just may not, the developers haven't clicked a box. And again, that's beta testing for you guys. Hey, I couldn't do that. Well, that's telling the developers, can you look into why this isn't possible, and they fix it. That's testing. So, but I guess what I'll do. I will. That's what raising a support ticket does. So, uh, but I'll relay that a different way. All right, guys, unless there's any other questions, thank you so much for joining us. Again, real exciting updates coming our way. Next week's masterclass, not sure what it's going to be on. Maybe we actually do a full preview of the next release. We'll see. Golter, do you have one last question? Golter's in Switzerland or Sweden? I can never remember.
Sorry. Typed the wrong button. Wrong button.
Oh, I guess he didn't have a question
okay.
in chat. He
Yeah,
said he
yeah,
hit the wrong button. Happens all the time.
The consequences of hitting the wrong button, not checking a box. Here's all types of issues.
At least it didn't set off, a nuclear holocaust when you hit the wrong button.
When Suzanne makes a mistake, it affects a lot of us.
Oh, good Lord. That's why I try not to make mistakes, but I'm human. It's happened.
And just so that everybody knows, one of the crazy thing, the most popular products in the system are the oldest. And there are times that we want to make updates, but it can throw off any old accounts. But Suzanne's team, if you look at the products that are added nowadays, really over the past several years, they are optimal. Um, but it's what the customer gives us. One last thing we didn't touch on, Suzanne, though, is you could import that CSV without images. You absolutely can. And what you could do is you can add your own view. And we do have DecoNetwork templates. And that template will allow you to simulate a lot of product colors. So you could have done that CSV without uploading images. And let's say you needed t-shirts. Well, and this is a pigment dyed, so that's a bad example. Let's use this tote. A tote looks
I
like a
was about to say,
tote to
good
me.
luck finding a good
Yeah.
example in
I
that
know, I know. Well, you and I
mountain
have
of
talked
templates.
8,900. But you see here, I have this tote, and what it's doing is products can be added a couple different ways. We could upload an image for each color, like I did, each SKU. Or, or, because some products are this way, we can simulate a product view by uploading a Photoshop file with a grayscale effect. I'm not going into all that right now, but um, when I uploaded that CSV of colors, that hex color, it would have created these colors. It would have created that swatch. And then using that file that I chose, it's able to apply it to the product. So like we said earlier, images can take forever, but you could upload that CSV without the images. That's now we're talking a whole different ball game. And then you could add your product view. And if you use decos, what you really need to focus on is there's not out of the 8,900 there's not you need one good tote version, and this could represent most totes that I would sell. Um, you can also make your own, and there is a help video. I've done this. I did it like 10 years ago. It absolutely works. So you can simulate any color by uploading just one file when done, certain ways. But if you're trying to do like tri blends and heather blends and things like that, tie dye, it's not possible to upload a hex code and say, create this color, create this camo effect. No, I have to upload an actual image of the product. All right. Well, thank you so much, Suzanne, for joining us. I could go on forever. Um, but hopefully, again, guys, this was helpful. Look out for another video in a couple of weeks. And also, just keep an eye out on the next release. I'll try to get a Shopify overview video out within the next week because it is a very exciting new feature that I think some of you guys are going to really like. Just look at it like this product import. It's a tool, but that doesn't mean we have to use it, and it shouldn't be used for any situation. But when we need it, we have it. All right, everybody.
Thanks everyone for attending. Take care.
Bye.